Hi there, as always I'm Feldrin, and as you might have noticed, I've been away for a bit, but I'm back now. I had some work to take care of, and quite frankly I've also been a bit of a lazy bastard, but I'm working on another PSA right now, which by the way is what you see being made in the background, and I'm also planning to do some other things, so you'll probably see some more videos pop up sooner or later. Anyway, right, while I was gone for a bit, I checked back in during Crime Fest to see whether, well, there was anything worth coming back for, and yeesh. Now, I'm not the kind of guy to have strong opinions about this kind of stuff. Quite frankly, I don't think it's worth getting all hot and bothered about, and there's enough outrage all around already. The whole thing looks like a PR nightmare, and currently Overkill appears to be diving headfirst into deeper shit by adding XP and money bonuses onto skins. While complaining about all of that is perfectly legit, I don't think it'll help changing anything considering Overkill's attitude on the whole topic so far. But at least in terms of how your weapons look, you can actually do something yourself to make your own skins that, if you put some effort into them, will probably look better. Because, quite frankly, so far I'm not really all that impressed with how a lot of the official weapon skins look. I actually bought a few of them on the market because it felt unfair to comment on them otherwise. Also, buying them directly seems to be a far more efficient way of getting skins you'd like rather than, you know, buying drills, which seems to be the equivalent of pissing money away. Alright, well, look, I know that this thing is battle-worn and that it's cheap as shit, but that's not really the point, is it? In the end, the system is built around the idea of getting saves and spending 2-3 euros on a drill, which means you might still end up getting, well, this, or this. Some skins actually look nice, while others look like there's hardly any effort put into them, which is a shame, but it's not as if you've got any choice with what you end up with getting from a save. It's basically a gamble in the hopes that you'll get a skin that simultaneously doesn't look rubbish, also is in a good enough condition, so you can actually see what the hell it is supposed to be, and finally hope that the skin you get is also for a weapon that you'll end up using. And even then, it still doesn't feel like you're actually customizing anything. You pick a skin you like and that's it. That's rather quite different from the freedom you get in mask customization. Anyway, if you don't like the skins or would want to be able to really customize stuff yourself, I think the GoonMod weapon customizer is actually superior to a lot of the skins out there. To install that, just visit paydaymods.com and first install the Payday 2 BLT, followed by GoonMod under the mod section, and just follow the instructions on the site. Once you're in-game, don't forget to check the option to actually activate the customization, then restart the game for that to take effect, and finally just right-click on a weapon to begin customizing it. Now, what the GoonMod customizer basically allows is to customize a large amount of individual weapon parts, including all the mods, and for that it uses the same materials, patterns and colors that you were already using to customize all your masks with. Honestly, I think that this is a pretty ingenious idea. It allows for a really large range of customization and it ties in nicely with the game as is, building further on the idea of collecting patterns and colors and so forth. Of course, the downside is that other players won't be able to see your customizations, but inspecting it yourself still works perfectly fine. If that one drawback doesn't bother you too much, and you just like some fun options, or even if you just want to change some of the modifications that stick out like sore thumbs, then it might be worth checking out GoonMod. Some people out there have put a fair amount of effort into making skins and they've managed to make some really neat stuff that looks pretty great. The whole modding community for Payday is actually, I think, one of the reasons why it's such a great game in the first place, and I hope that, with their now being official weapon skins, it's not going to harm any of the existing mods that involve weapon customization. There's a few mods out there that allow you to unlock all of the official skins, and while it's probably nice to have access to them, I'm just afraid that it might lead to backlash and ends up getting a lot of mods thrown under the bus in the process. Yes, that would be a really shit move on Overkill's part, but it's not as if the whole weapon skin thing so far is particularly faith-inspiring now, is it? If that somehow starts bleeding over into branding perfectly legit customization mods as cheating, that would be even worse than what we're already stuck with.